Hey tubers, welcome back for another adventure. So it's time to pick one of these all-terrain vehicles to fix, and the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to start out with the one that's most complete. I've looked this one over and the chain is intact. For those two, the chain is loose, and that little 70cc one, to be honest, I'm not in a big hurry to do anything with it. So let's see what this puppy needs. So let's start in the beginning. First of all, for an unknown, basically scrapyard gig, it seems to roll. So that's done. And the oil. I'm checking to make sure there's no milkshake. As a matter of fact, it really looks pretty good. Could be this is the first or second oil change on it. Next up is an engine integrity test, let's call it that. I'm not going to just smash a battery into it and turn it over that way, because God forbid it's hitting valves or something, you know, it's jump time. It would smash things up. So that's a 14 millimeter bolt, and it's what holds the flywheel on. And I'm turning it counterclockwise. There seems to be some compression, but I must have gone around twice. I don't hear any bad sounds. So the engine integrity seems good. Let's throw a battery in and turn it over. Battery installed. I even found the rubber band tie down thing. So I got no neutral light. I am in neutral. I seem to have one headlight seems to come on. Let's see if this puppy will turn over. Took a few moments of fishing around, but the brake has to be on to engage the starter. On these China ones, be careful with this. It's kind of, you click it one way and then you have to click it back one click, not two. If you click it back two, you're back to off. So I guess you could tell it's in the right position when the button actually pushes. Anyway, so it turns. Sounds like it has compression. I'm at one of two places. I can either bend down, take out the spark plug, do a compression test, and see if it is sparking. But given the condition of the machine and that it came in with a thrown chain along with its blue buddy, I'm going to assume that it runs. So I'm just going to give it a hoot of starting fluid and see what happens. So this thing has its air cleaner intact. Right, the box is here, and you guys could see kind of the hole down there. Looks like a perfect mouse house. We might be changing that to a cone air cleaner. So when I spray this in here, if you guys see a mouse come out, remember, just a hoot'll do ya. Alright, let's see what this thing wants to do. It's got a GY6, so that means it's got the electronic choke. The last couple of times was for mice. I like it. Alright. The engine appears to be intact. It seems to be sparking, and all I need to do is get some gas to it and it should run. So looking at the fuel system on that thing, even though the gas tank is above the carburetor, they are using a fuel pump. Wise and unwise. Wise because when you turn off the motor, you stop putting fuel to the carburetor, so if your float sticks, it doesn't dump gas on the floor. These things are also, GY6s are known for catching fire because the gas likes to drip on the exhaust, so this kind of cuts out some of that, right? That's a good thing. The bad thing is it's a whole new set of things to go wrong. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a gravity gas tank on this thing and get rid of the whole fuel pump situation, and then hopefully with that it fires up and runs, and if it does that, then I just have to smash the chain on and we'll actually get a ride out of it. This ATV is a little higher performance than most. Like, it's got this little fuel pump thing here. I just put gas into the bowl via my umbilical. Just quickly, remember these things have an electric choke. So as I've been doing everything else and setting everything else up, make sure you have it off, because if you don't have it off, your choke's gonna warm up and then it's going to disengage and you won't have choke, and it'll be like, what's wrong with this rig? Anyway, so supposedly it's cool. I'm going to set up the camera and cool by the point way of hopefully the choke works. You know, I always get nervous when I see these wires floating around loose like this. Maybe that's why the lights aren't working. I don't know. Anyway, let's set up the camera and see if it'll start. Alright, here we go. Well, it seems to be running. That's always a good sign. If the sprocket turns. Well, the sprocket seems to turn. That's all a good sign. I think I'm going to put the chain on and see if we can't make this thing move a little bit. You can see I put the chain back on, and it's still pretty loose, right? The adjuster is, as you hear, up at the extreme, and the chain's still loose. So no surprise that it's been throwing it. If you look in the back here, there's still some room to adjust. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray these bolts down. I really kind of want to get a ride out of it. I don't want to snap these off, so I'm going to spray them down a couple of times and we'll come back and adjust the chain. After I put the chain on, I went to roll it enough to turn it around and the chain jumped right off. So obviously I had to do some adjustments before we even attempt a ride. You guys could see how much this has already been adjusted. That one too. Luckily the bolts loosened up without too much trouble. Turns out that chain adjuster up here, it seems to be a little torqued up. I bent it by hand easily to its current position, which isn't great either, but at least it's providing a little direction for the chain. Not great, as you guys could see. Not only, I think the wheel is twisted like that, but hopefully it keeps things centered enough to move. The ride is obviously going to have to be extremely slow. Sorry about that. Because this thing just I don't want to be throwing the chain, cracking a case, tearing things up back here. So we're just going to take it a little easy. Okay, I started it up. It's been running for a couple of minutes. Let's see how she does. Right, this is really the wrong way of doing this. I'm doing a one-handed ride instead of a GoPro. But you guys hear a click out of the front. That's not great. The wind noise is probably bad, but it moves. Once again, I'm taking it real easy, right? I don't want to toss the chain. Hopefully this isn't a 12-point changer. Little reverse action. That ain't bad. Got reverse. Back to drive. Running okay. I'm going to try a lap in the front, see if we make it. Maybe open her up for a second without bumping around too much. I haven't been cutting the front grass because it's been crazy dry by me. Looks like maybe it's time now. If you open it wide up, then it seems to lean out. So I think this carburetor needs a rebuild. I did not do that because I really didn't want to get involved with tearing the plastics off of it and all that other stuff. I just wanted to see how alive this thing was. And it seems to be alive enough. It probably, actually let's try the brakes. Front brakes work. Back brakes work. Yeah, to do this machine right, what needs to happen is that carburetor needs to come off and at the minimum get cleaned. At the maximum be replaced. And from that, you could kind of figure out why the shop let the thing go. Honestly, to get the plastic off and on, you're probably looking between an hour and 90 minutes. Shop time, right? That takes you well over $100. Getting the carburetor off and cleaning it, or buying a new one, right? That takes yet another pile of coin. So as you start adding these things up, the shop would have had to probably put, plus a battery, shop probably would have had to put between $200 and $300 into it. And more than that, then they got to put a warranty on it. So from a shop point of view, you could see why they decided to let it go, right? It's very hard at 75, 100, 150 bucks an hour to make any money on this, especially if you got plenty of other machines in there that are worth many, many thousands that you can put that time and effort into, right? And then get thousands out of it. It's the same amount of work pulling the carburetor off this thing and cleaning it for a $500 outcome as it is to working on a Honda or a Yamaha or a CF Moto or whatever, and that gives you many thousands of dollars worth of income. Many of you ask, why do I buy them? Quite honestly, because they're reasonably priced projects. I can bring in one of these made in China all-terrain vehicles for not a lot of money, and whether you're cleaning a carburetor on that or on a Honda, it's really the same work, right? So you guys get to see all the same things, and I don't have as much coin tied up. Well, what's next? I don't know if I'm going to do that one next or if I'm going to do the wilderness next. We'll have to see. Once again, the Sun L70 is going to be just about last. Anyway, in the meantime, I want to thank you all for dropping by to watch and comment and subscribe. Please remember, feet down, heads up, and get out and enjoy each and every day. Bye now.